Merry Christmas 2020. Of course, it's Texas, so it's kind of sunny this morning and not too cold. I didn't even have to wear a jacket. But Merry Christmas 2020, the year of COVID-19, the year of quarantining, the year of, God, just so much hurt and pain in America. But these things have to happen from time to time. But my point is, I hope all of you are having a great Christmas, even though in my life, in my family, we are completely separated right now. We've had some positive COVID results with some family members, so we're at 100%. Everybody stay away, quarantine with each other, and man, this is it's hard. It's sad. It reminds you of all the Christmases that you had before, that you took for granted, that you could just walk up to your mom or your dad or your sisters or your niece and nephew or your entire family and just give them a hug and a kiss, and everybody sit at the same table together, sharing a meal, just laughing and joking and talking. And this year it appears we may have to do that over the internet, through web video conference calling. And I am just completely, I don't know, it's sad. I know I've always been an introvert and kind of the black sheep that does his own thing, runs around, joined the army, moved to Mexico, moved here, moved there, you know. But I still love the tradition of getting together with family. But you know what? Let's be grateful for what we do have. We have our health in our family, and I hope as well in yours. We have hope. We have hope that the world can become a better place because people are no longer lying down and saying, you know what, bad things are okay to happen as long as this little good thing happens. So I wanted to wish all of y'all a Merry Christmas 2020. And if I could have one wish, one gift for the world that I would ask of the universe, is that we have a realization that it doesn't matter what side of the planet we're from. We are all earthlings. We are all human beings in a tiny speck floating through one single galaxy in an infinite universe. Literally, our planet is nothing in the galaxy. And yet we have created, and I say that truly, we have created problems to be mad about just because of greed. I mean, think about it. The first, I believe, orphanages and what we would consider modern-day hospitals were started in Scotland by the Masons. I think, God, I want to say 1600s, but of course I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't have my history book in front of me, and I do have a history book that I refer to. No, but what I'm trying to say is that, let me pause. What I'm trying to say is that hospitals were started by people in the medieval ages and before then for free, because they knew the city elders at the time, whatever you want to call them, the rich familias, the nobles, they knew a stronger, healthier populace is a stronger, healthier country. By helping the least of them, by bettering the lives of the least of them with free medical care, they knew they were bettering their country. And at that time, they were, noblemen and aldermen and religious leaders that ran cities like Paris, Florence, and they took care of their citizens. They knew being a don, being a boss, being in charge wasn't just I get to push people around and do what I want. It was I am responsible for those beneath me who are supporting me. Therefore, I need to strengthen them and make their lives better. So let's go to that. if we were able to just have universal health care like most other first world countries, it's not like I'm talking about some radical idea. Every other first world country does it except us. Like, we are the exception to everybody else doing it right. Now, are there throwbacks? God, yeah. I mean, the running joke is Britain's dental system, you know? It's free, but goddamn, look at their teeth. No. I don't know. That's probably something genetic or in the water. But other than that, they can go, oh, I have a lump. Let me go get it checked out. Free. Testing? Free. You know? Oh, I may be pregnant. Let me go get prenatal care. Free. You know? Mortality rates of birth mothers, way lower than the U.S. We're almost in third world country levels. So, of moms just dying giving birth. Can you believe that? I mean, we're at third world levels. Um, all of that could be resolved by giving everybody universal health care, which we already pay for through our taxes, and then pay double at work. So our taxes are paying for Medicaid already for much of the population because we're in a depression, and then we're paying again at work for our own individual health care. Imagine if you just paid the taxes that you're paying now, and all your health care was taken care of, as well as mine, as well as the little old lady on the corner, as well as the homeless dude on the corner washing the windshields, as well as the doctors and everybody else, you know, gets a standard level of universal health care. Now, here's where the money and the rich people can still benefit. You want to go to the best, the independent private doctor who is at the top of his game? Cool. You're going to have to pay a little more. It's not going to be free. That dude charges. And that's where capitalism can continue. But that doesn't mean fuck everybody else that can't afford it. That means everybody else gets this standard right here. And I think the standard should be much higher than what we give our prisoners. It should just be universal health care. We just have to ask the other countries, hey, how did you do it? Oh, okay. Can you come visit us and let us know how to set it up here? Thank you very much. Canada, our neighbor, can do it. Anyway, I wish for Christmas that we get rid of that problem in America so that business owners aren't complaining about how much they have to pay in insurance premiums, so that private insureds don't have to complain about how much their costs are or how their limits work or none of that. Like, man, I've worked in the hospitals in the administration field. If you are not a highly intelligent person that can follow legalese and accounting, which I have a degree in, it is one of the most confusing billing forms on the planet. And it's purposely made that way so that you are unable to fully grasp the scope of the, I don't even want to say it's profits. It's just thievery, straight up thievery. Those $10 aspirins, that really happens. You know, a Band-Aid wrap, $120. Are you kidding me? You could have bought that at HEB for $5. You know, just things like that will be eliminated. All the grift, all the people in the middle. Well, I need a cut of that. Well, I need a cut of that. Well, I need a cut of that. Well, then we got to charge this dude $2,000 instead of $200 if everybody's getting a cut of that. That would be gone. Done. All these insurance agents denying shit. All these boards saying that's not medically sound. We're not going to pay. All that gone. Bureaucrats in the hospitals telling doctors how to work. Gone. Okay? All we need the bureaucrats for is, hey man, budget and figure out how we're going to give all our nurses some raises. Alright? Stop giving yourselves bonuses. Figure out how we're going to give all the nurses a raise every year. Become profitable that way. The profits trickle down to your employees. The healthcare staff, the janitorial staff, the cleaning, the laundry, the every step that comes in that hospital. Those bureaucrats and administrators need to be figuring out every year how everybody gets a raise. That should be your sole job. All right. Next, my next wish for the world, and mainly America, is peace, obviously. But I want America to grasp one thing. And it's not a concept that comes very easily to people. I have a friend who works with children, several friends that work with children that grew up in a very peaceful lifestyle, And now they live here in San Antonio. And I've had to explain, San Antonio is not peaceful. San Antonio is a very violent city. Some of the children you're going to be dealing with have lost parents and siblings to violence, to gangs. Many of them are products of rape or incest. America's fucked up. But San Antonio has a lot of fucked up in it too. And I guess what I want everybody to realize is we didn't all grow up the same. We didn't all see the same things. I've seen poverty in Mexico when I lived there at levels that would make you cry just walking around in some of the pueblos that I visited. You would literally start to cry because of the level of poverty the people were living in. And in the same city, Guadalajara, I partied in some clubs that were bigger than the clubs in Vegas. I'm not even 20 miles apart. That's what was happening. And I just want people to understand. I know you think you know what poverty is. You don't. You don't. It is the way I've seen people have to survive. Well, I'll tell you what. In 2002, I was living in Guadalajara, and it was Christmas time, and I didn't know anybody. I had only been there maybe 4 months, and I knew nobody. But I was there trying to save a business that was going under. And so I had to stay. I had to push, and I had to be there. But, long story short, I knew nobody. And I had trained up these 15, 16-year-old kids who were out just playing soccer in the street. And then they asked me, hey, can we have a job? I said, sure, come in. I turned them into one of the best packaging teams for shipping in that little pueblo, probably in Guadalajara. Because you see, I was shipping items to Home Depot. And they require, on American standards, the pallets to be a certain level, the shipping to be put together a certain way, the labeling to be put together a certain way, the loading of the vehicle has to be done in a certain way. Everything has to be to that standard. And in Mexico, everybody was just kind of like, we'll just let them figure it out. And it was bad. Everybody was just bringing pallets I had to basically hire a guy to make pallets for me because the quality of pallets that were available down there in the pueblo that I was in were not worth shipping. So long story short, these kids that were basically shoeless playing in the street, I hooked them up with some money for clothes, I hooked them up with some gloves, I hooked them up with some safety equipment, and I trained them up. Well, this kid took me to his home. He knew I was basically living in my office by myself and I was going to spend Christmas alone. This broke young kid invited me to his home to spend Christmas so I wouldn't spend it alone in my office, which was conveniently next to a graveyard. That always tripped me out. But anyway, this kid invited me and I went. And it was in a quarry, because they quarry sand there to make the clay for pottery. And so in this gigantic quarry was a village set up illegally, shanty town, made out of 2x4s and whatever spare scraps of wood, tin roofs. Imagine one of those movies like where they're like in China and it's all like little wooden boards to cross over streets and puddles and little creeks of open sewers. It was straight up like that. It was straight up like that. And you're walking through the house because the houses are connected. It was like a long row of families living together. So you walk in through the main room and you keep walking straight. And there's grandma's room. And then there's dad's room. And then there's the kid's room. And all of this is in a straight line because everybody built their little shanty town in rows. And then at the end was like the formal dining area. All of it made like out of pallet wood, made out of cardboard, made out of everything. And I had no idea what I was going to walk into. But I just had, a jacket, a sweater, and some jeans. And I brought several bottles of tequila and like a bag of toys that I had bought at an open air market they called tianguis. The tianguis are like giant flea markets, open air markets, just awesome. You can find everything there. I even got a chicken there one time. Anyway, so they had gifts, but what I brought was 4 times the amount of gifts that they had been able to buy for themselves. And the only reason they had been able to buy those gifts was because I had employed their son, taken him off the street, and spent months teaching him how to package something so simple. Something that over here we take for granted. Something that if you go work at a shipping company, that's their training. Well, nobody had taken the time with these kids to train them. Nobody had given a shit about them. And he showed me love by taking me to his family for Christmas. And man, I stayed there till maybe 4 in the morning. We were celebrating. Everybody was celebrating. Everything around us. All the households were happy, yelling, kids running around. In Mexico, the way we do it is at midnight is when the kids open the presents. Christmas Eve at midnight is when the kids open the presents. So it was wild. And that was back in 2002. And it really changed me. It made me realize what's important and how simple it is as a business owner, as a director of operations, to do the right thing. With pay, with training, with patience, with love even, you know? And we can do that here in America. We can do that here. We can have employees so happy. There are businesses that are already doing it. All we have to do is emulate them. If you put your employees' needs first, and I'm not talking about like, oh, we want to have porcelain, washstands everywhere painted in gold. No. I'm talking about safety. I'm talking about mental wellness, their health. Here's something I did. Most of these guys didn't eat breakfast. They would show up there, and then everybody would unpack what they had, and they would have like a potluck breakfast. One dude brought like 5 tortillas. One dude brought a pot of beans. One dude brought this, that, and the other. Very simple food, but something they could just whip together out there. And I was like, man, what if anyway, what I said in my head was, there's several ladies out here that cook, and they feed people in their driveway, like a tiny little restaurant. Let me walk around and see what's up. So I found a lady who made great breakfast, and I hired her. I said, listen, to keep it simple, I want you to make 5 styles of breakfast tacos for my employees. And the reason I say 5 is so you can buy the materials in excess. And I am going to front you the money to buy the materials for an entire week. And at the end, you repay me. But I want my employees to be able to go to you and say, I want 3 tacos. Even if they don't have money, you give them 3 tacos. You write a note in your notebook. And every Saturday when I'm paying them, you will be sitting there right next to me with your notebook and tell me, okay, he owes me this many tacos. Here's his signature. Here's his total. And I would take out of his pay what he owed the lady for tacos, and I would give him the rest. So there was never a dispute of he didn't pay, none of that crap. I paid straight to her out of his check, right in front of him, and then I paid him the difference. Everybody ate. Everybody was happy. They looked forward to coming to work because they knew there was a couple of tacos waiting for them. Now, to y'all, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But to them, that very simple gesture eased their mind, eased their spirit. They didn't have to worry about, oh my God, I didn't eat today, so I know around noon I'm going to be starving and I'm not going to be able to work and I'm not going to be able to do this. No, they never had to worry about that, because for lunch I had hired another lady who made tortas. And tortas, for y'all, are just basically sandwiches. They're just sandwiches that make ham. So I told her same thing, make 3 styles of sandwiches to feed my employees, don't charge them. I'm going to front you the money to go ahead and buy the materials or the bread and all that for a week. And we did that for like 3 weeks until she had made enough money that I no longer had to buy the materials for her. And she got them on her own and kept 100% of the profit. Nothing really changed for her. All I did was take myself out of the equation by making her a successful businesswoman. I kept doing stuff like that in Mexico because it's so easy. When you have a mind that's mathematically inclined, that is more about logic than emotion, that doesn't think about, oh, these damn employees, I know they're hungry, but why didn't they eat at home? Why didn't... If you instead say, okay, I have a problem. The problem is my employees are hungry. The problem is they have to walk 3 miles or more. Some of them were walking 6 miles to get to work, to get to the bus line that brings them to work. When I found that out, I started giving the people who lived all the way out in the boonies rides every night. Every night they would just jump in the back of my truck, we'd cruise down the highway a bit, and I would drive into these ranch roads and take them all the way home. It cost me maybe an hour out of my day, but it saved them, oh my God, it saved them a lot, because maybe 2-3 hours of walking and being tired and that wasted time that they could have spent with family. Anyway, as I think about Christmas 2020, what I hope is that everybody wakes up to what an essential worker is. An essential worker is anybody in America that has a job, man. Everybody's essential. Um, so, that's my wish, that we wake up from the materialism and look at the humanism more.